Hi guys, Brain here with a little bit of a different video today. Today I wanted to give you another helpful tips video. Ever since the move and all the hectic stuff, like my videos have been, all over the place. For lack of a better term, I've been posting restreams, 1 hour videos of killer matches, and then we've getting back into the commentary thing. But a video I haven't done in a little while because of the hecticness of life lately is one of the educational videos, which is kind of like something I always want to do and something I always like focusing on is like helping people get better at the game. And I realized I hadn't done that in a while, so I wanted to put out another video that'll help you. But this time we're gonna do a flip. Usually I do killer tips videos, which is another one's coming soon. I do already have that one planned. But today we're gonna flip the script. We're gonna give advice on the survivor side of things, but we're gonna do it with a unique twist that it's all the advice that I'm going to be giving today are bad habits that I've seen from the killer side of things. So from my perspective, I'm mostly a killer main, 70-30. I want to report to you bad things that I see survivors do while I'm playing killer that get them killed from my perspective. That way it can help you on the survivor side live a little better. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Number 1, holding W, but there's nothing to go to. So in the year of our Lord 2021, people have come around to the fact and the idea that holding W is really, really strong. And it is, because, a lot with, them releasing, continually releasing anti-chase killers, staying at a pallet could most likely mean your doom because most killers, I'm looking at you, Nemesis, give no shit about pallets and loops, and they can hit you over them using their powers. So in a lot of scenarios, it's a lose-lose situation to stay at a pallet against a lot of killers, and especially more recent killers that they've been releasing. So people have understood that holding W and just running away from the tile instead of like risking it is a really, really good play. However, what I do see as killer that gets a lot of survivors killed is that they'll hold W away from the pallet without necessarily knowing where they're going. and this is what often leads people to get killed, because they'll run out in the middle of a dead zone because they're so preoccupied with, holding W is good, so I'm just going to keep holding W, that they just run out into an area that's actually less safe for them than if they had just stayed at the pallet. When you're holding W in this game, it's really strong and really, really good, and everybody's come around to that. But what you want to do is when you're holding W, you got to map out where you're going. You got to look into the distance and see, if I hold W here, where do I head? Where do I end up? Is there a jungle gym over there? Is there a pallet over there? Is there something that I can use to get away from the killer? And if there's not, if there's nothing over there for you to like use to get away from the killer, you got to make, in essence, your final stand at the area you're in. Like, you just have to. Because if you just straight up hold W, they're just going to catch up to you. There's just like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But at least if you make your final stand at like a pallet, you may get the stun, and that may buy you time to actually hold W to somewhere you actually, need to be. So definitely don't hold W blindly. Definitely try to map out like where you want to be when you're holding W. Because if you don't, you'll often find yourself in a dead zone or in a less safe area than you were before. Number 2, this is kind of like similar to the last one, because this often happens in similar situations, is running away from a dropped pallet without paying attention to the killer. So, you get to a loop, you loop it like once or twice, and you finally drop the pallet, and either it stuns the killer or, they respect it, the pallet drops. And then at that point, I see so many survivors, they don't even like wait for me to like kick the pallet or decide to play the pallet. They just immediately start running a direction. And this is like such a horrible play that I see. And honestly, this is the play that I probably see the most that gets survivors killed. This or the next one is that they'll just start running before I make a decision on what I'm doing at the pallet. So if you, like I said, we're in that situation, you drop the pallet in front of me, either it stuns me or it doesn't much matter. I have the choice as the killer to either run around the other side and try to play it, or I can kick it and, save me some time later. A lot of survivors will just immediately commit to running one direction of the loop. And what you do when you do that is you give me so much information on what decision I should make. If you start running the short side of the pallet out of nowhere, I'm not going to kick the pallet. I'm just going to chase you around and get the hit. If you decide you're going to start running the long side of the pallet, I'm going to kick it and probably reach you before you get somewhere safe again. basically, when you move before I move as killer, you give me so much information on what I should do to optimally get the hit on you. And that's why you see so many like good survivors, whether it be in Twitch streams or YouTube, they'll drop, when they drop the pallet in front of the killer, they'll just start spinning in front of them. They're not like BMing or being cute. They're waiting to see what the killer decision is, because they know if they overcommit to something, that it's going to catch them out and it's going to end up really poorly for them. So if you're in this situation, like, wait and see what the killer does, or use your previous information about the match so far to make a judgment about what the killer's going to do. Don't just automatically commit to a side and just keep running before they do anything. Just don't do that. This third one is kind of a build up of that last one. Is a lot of survivors will run around a loop without knowing where I am, and this one and the last one are usually what gets survivors killed down and allows me to snowball. Is we'll be at a jungle gym, and jungle gym walls are super high, right? Jungle gym walls are high, and all you have to know where I am when we disappear behind walls together is that my red stain coming around the corner, right? But killers can moonwalk and do a bunch of crazy things to try and, like, you know, hide their red stain and stuff. So this is why it always puzzles me when survivors are aware that killers can moonwalk and do funny things to try to like manipulate where their perception of where you are on the loop or in a jungle gym, and they just keep running, right? I see this a lot, like I said, mostly at jungle gyms, whether that be long wall jungle gyms or just like normal jungle gyms, is like they'll run into the jungle gym and they'll like hard commit to going towards like the long wall window of a jungle gym, and they'll go to vault through, but they're not paying attention to what I'm doing, right? Like they're not looking behind them, and if they are looking behind, the wall's in the way, but they're so committed to like, oh, there's a window there, I gotta go vault the window, that they're not paying attention to that, like to what I'm doing. And when you don't do that, that just gives me more chances to like moonwalk, or give me more chances to cut you off and come towards the window from an optimal side. That really, really benefits me. And at worst, we'll be playing the jungle gym. And because you're so convinced with like running the jungle gym the optimal way without like paying attention to what I'm doing, is that you'll end up running right into me. Because all it takes is like a good moonwalk, and you're not stopping to check where I am. So suddenly your perception of where I was, and you were holding W this whole time, suddenly I'm on you and I'm hitting you. This is why you'll see good survivors when they lose track of a red stain, whether that be at like Shack or like a long wall jungle gym like we've been talking about, they will start standing at the corner. That's why they do that. It seems dumb, because you're like, why would you lose like momentum and chase? Why would you not keep going? But they stand at the corner because if they're not sure where you are, they know it's more detrimental if they keep running blindly and they run back into you. So that's why you see good survivors, they'll stand at the corner of like Shack if they don't know where you are, and wait until they know where you are again. That way they don't make this mistake of like ending up running back into you. So that's why good survivors do that. It's definitely not a dumb thing. That is because they need that information on where you are to make a proper reaction. This fourth one is kind of like an easy one. It's kind of a no-brainer, or at least it should be, but like I cannot tell you that no matter how high my MMR continues to get, this never stops. Literally ever. It never ends, and I don't know why. But people seem to really, really love saving immediately, and I have no idea why. I don't get why this is a thing. A lot of people think that, I guess just because they have BT, that they can just save in my face and I won't do anything about it. Survivors love just like, especially when they're like grouped up, because like, you know, that's their homie, that's their friend up there. Like I'll hook somebody, walk, I'm not even exaggerating, like 3 meters, like 3 meters tops. And then I hear the unhook noise, right? They're just saving immediately. So what that tells me is, and this is going to be in that upcoming killer video, is it's always better as killer to pressure 2 survivors instead of 1. Like, because survivors are always more efficient in groups. They do everything quicker. So you're breaking up that time efficiency when you break up the group. So, and that includes when you're under hook. That's why you see somebody back to hook Andes, is because that it like mathematically it checks out to like remove their speed, the efficiency boost that they get to the speeds of everything that they're doing. So when you save immediately, you're telling me as killer, hey, we're consistently grouping up for saves immediately. You should come break up the save every single time. And that's what killers do. And then survivors will be like, oh no, he's back to hook Andy, he's camping the hook. You should be waiting until my tier radius is either faint or completely gone before getting the save. Not every single time, but most of the time, you should be waiting for my tier radius to become really faint, or leave, or wait for a call out from your teammate that, you know, I've committed to a chase with your friend. Because 9 times out of 10, that killer's gonna come right back and pressure the hook, break up the heal. Now you both have to play injured, and both of you can't hop on a gen together, and everybody's upset. So definitely wait and stop saving immediately. Okay, this final one is probably my most biased one, and I understand that, but relying on strong perks to supplant skill is something that is rampant on both sides, but I see it a lot in Survivor, and it's kind of disheartening to see. And I think this came to me, and this is like part of the reason that I made this video. There was a Twitch streamer I was watching. It was a Survivor main, and they will remain nameless, but they always run dead hard, right? And like, you know, guys, you guys know how I feel about that perk. I think it's stupid, but they run dead hard like literally all the time. They just never take it off ever. They always use it. But every time they would get a build request on their stream, whenever their viewers would, you know, do a build request, and the build didn't include dead hard, they would like go down and chase like really quickly, like it was like night and day. It was literally a night and day. Like, they were so good at using dead hard to get to a window, get to a pallet, but once they didn't have that, they just like were going down like ridiculously easy, because they had so much of their looping in the game that they had learned up until that point was based around having a second chance at the letter end of this chase, that they were going down almost like it was almost embarrassingly fast for somebody with that many hours in the game. And that's because they had, you know, they never take dead hard off, and the only way they understand chasing is through that perk. And I cannot stress to you, know, and this is for both sides really, like, you should not rely on crutch perks. You just shouldn't, especially meta crutch perks. Meta crutch perks, you gotta let go. You gotta understand that these things at a certain point are hindering your progress towards becoming a better player, just like I saw that streamer do. Because that streamer, whenever it was a perk request, or it was a perk build request, and it didn't have dead hard, they were getting trucked in chase, because they were unaware of the fact that they had, you know, become reliant on this perk to help them win their chases, and they were in chase because of it. And it was painful to see. So yes, there are a lot of really, really strong perks in this game, especially for Survivor, but don't become over reliant on them. Don't run them every single game, because at a certain point you're supplanting your skill and you're not learning how to actually play the game without these perks. Okay, so those are 5 bad habits that I see people do as Survivor while I'm playing Killer. If you're out there and you're trying to survive in the fog, make sure you're not doing these things, because when I'm playing Killer, these are the things that get people killed the most. When I'm trying to, you know, hunt down the survivors, these are the things that usually get you killed. So don't be doing these things. Thank you so much for watching, friendos. If you like this video, make sure to do the like. If you want to stick around and see more of my daily uploads, do the Subaroni so it actually shows up on your homepage. Other than that, I don't have anything else for you. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Otherwise, I'll see you when I see you, friends. Bye-bye.